The sky is entirely blue and there's one big black cloud in the middle, and it's right in front of my sun. I'm freezing. There's a chilly wind, and I'm sitting here in front of this window. And I'm looking outside into the valley. It's a huge valley. On the other side I see the mountains, and through a kind of opening between two mountains I can see a glimpse of the sea. It's a huge ocean there. It's a massive landscape. It's a long distance. It's clear. There's only this one black cloud in the middle of this blue endless expanse of the sky, and it's blocking my sun. And I've hidden the microphone and I'm sitting here at the table in front of this window, looking outside. In fact, there's no left or right wall. There's not a wall on the back of me. It's just a wall in front of me. It's not a roof. In fact, I'm outside, but I'm acting as if I'm inside, looking outside. And it's very important that I don't see the microphone and that I speak this message in code. So please, I know you're listening. Listen quite well. You understand all of it. There's no problem there. Please memorize it exactly and use it. I know we have not very much time left. Time is running out very, very fast. And that's why it is of utmost importance that you take a little time to sit down in front of this loudspeaker and listen. Please. I know there's a lot on your mind. There's a lot on all our minds. I mean, we are so busy. There's so much to do. It's sickening. And in fact, you cannot do anything. You know as well as I do. But anyway, if you want to go on with it, please do. I don't mind. And I mean it. I don't mind. You're free. Anyway, let me tell you what happened, so I can fill you in with the details. Yesterday, and I'm not sure if it was yesterday, because I slept so long, and I don't have a clock here. I could have easily slept 2 days in a row, so it could be the day before yesterday. I was exhausted of all that happened. But anyway, it doesn't really matter if I don't have a clock. Time doesn't exist here. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, sometimes I wake up and it's night. Sometimes I wake up and it's day. Sometimes I wake up and I think it's early in the morning, and then it still lasts hours and hours and hours before the sun actually comes up. Sometimes I think it will never come up. But it always does. It's amazing. Anyway, I ate in this little restaurant. It overlooked the lake. And you know the lake, it's a crater. It used to be a volcano. It's a massive mound, you can say. It's the mouth of an enormous crater. You can imagine the amount of hot sperm spurting out. But anyway, nobody dares to go on the lake. It's forbidden territory. You don't see a boat on it. It's very weird. The restaurant is a kind of aquarium. It's built over the lake. If there's an earthquake here, the whole aquarium just falls down in the lake. But anyway, it's a stunning view. It's a stunning view. It's a very simple restaurant. I ordered a simple country meal, you know, how it is here. Everything is made in wood ovens. They bring those incredible branches that they cut from the special trees every morning. And everywhere in front of the bakeries and restaurants you see bunches of those branches, dead wood. And especially that wood that gives the taste, the incredible taste. I mean, even the most simple country food has that incredible wood taste. It's like taking a shot of dangerous stuff. Really tickles the plate. It gets you going. The blood starts rushing. It's so wonderful actually that I wonder how much delight, how much happiness a man can take. It's horrible how nice it is here. It's so beautiful. I mean, how much beauty can a man take? I mean, the lake is wonderful. If you see the wind blowing over it, sometimes you see spots that are totally without any wind. It's like flat like a mirror. And you know, there's a whole city under it. But they have so much here, I mean, from 2, 3, 4,000 years ago. I mean, the whole city is full of it. I mean, the whole country is full of it. There's so many, I mean, drowned cities. As I don't want to pump that lake empty, nobody dares to. There's all kind of stories. And there's an old temple at the shore, yes. I've tried to find it, but there's signs pointing to the temple, but I couldn't find it. And everybody I ask here points in a different direction. It seems that everybody wants to carefully hide the location of it. Anyway, there's this very small restaurant that's down at the lake. It's right at the border of it. I mean, it's like you can literally sit with your feet in the water if you want. And it's that guy that I wanted to see. So I went there in the afternoon. And I came there in front of the door. And I knocked. It was very silent there. There's nobody there. It was just, we were surrounded by this enormous, say, walls of mountain all around. You know, I mean, literally in the bottom of the crater, right at the lake. I mean, you look up, you know, you see, on the right you see this very ancient village, and on the left you see this ancient village, and I think on the other side is the castle of the Pope. And that's what the story is all about, because a doctor lives right here. His doctor, yes. And he's befriended with the director of the telephone company. And you know, the cardinals used to come here to bring in some of the merchandise. You know what I mean? Because there are some villas here that the police simply cannot enter. It's like having your own country in another country, and it's legal. And don't ask me how they do it and how it legally works, but the police is simply not allowed to enter the territory of the villa. So anyway, I knew I had to get in. So the gate was not locked, which I considered a sign. So I entered the gate, and there was a big door. It's very ancient wood, probably thick, massive, and the lock had a key in it. It was one of those ancient locks too. I mean, it's probably more decoration than that it had any use. But anyway, I didn't have to turn the key. The gate, the door, the wooden door, it was open. I could push it and it slowly moved. Behind it was dark, pitch black. I came in the dark. I had to go forward now because I couldn't go back. There's no way. I had to see this man. So, as soon as I entered through the little opening that I made by pushing against the door fell back again, closed again, locked. It was pitch black. I was in the dark. I mean, I could hold my hands in front of my eyes and I couldn't see my hands. It was totally dark. I stood there, motionless, and I couldn't hear anything else but my breathing and my heart thumping in my throat. I didn't know if I had to go forward, so I was hesitant. I was very hesitant, of course. I didn't know if I was doing the right thing, but then again, I never knew in my life if I was doing the right thing. I just did what I had to do, or what came up, basically. So I moved very slowly, my right foot forward, to just feel the ground if there was no hole or staircase or something I could bump in or fall over, or fall in or fall off. So I could do a step forward. I stepped forward, 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps. Still seems to be pretty level. The floor was pretty normal. It felt like tiles, but no light. Not a sign, not a glimpse of light. And then I felt something. It felt like a bench, and I sat down on it because I suddenly felt very tired. Very tired. You know that feeling that you sometimes can have, this, as if you pull the plug out of a bathtub. You know, I mean, all your energy drains. It's like as if you fall instantly like glonk asleep. I sometimes had it in a car. I remember very well. I was driving on an empty road. It was a country road. I was with a girlfriend of mine, and there went my energy, just like zonk, and I fell asleep. I was with my foot on the gas. I fell asleep, and my girlfriend started screaming. So I must have slept seconds. I woke up and the adrenaline was like shooting through my system. I was wide awake. I was terrified. I saw myself going straight at that tree. And I saved myself just in seconds flat, let me tell you. It's amazing. But anyway, that happened. I fell asleep. The last thought I had was poison gas or so. Or something in that space that because this was not normal. I mean, I've had it. That moment, I still remember that very clearly. Just like falling out, you know, it's like there you go. I mean, I know somebody. I met a woman from Hawaii. And she's a healer. And she claims she hasn't slept for 6 months. And I talked with a friend about it, and he said, yes, but I know a doctor in England who hasn't slept for half a year. And they did a lot of research on him. He claimed he never slept, but what happened was that he dozed off sometimes. He would sit down in a chair, and he would doze off for, like, say, a second or 2, 3, 4, 5 perhaps. But in that time, he fell very deeply asleep and immediately woke up again and was rested. In fact, that was all he needed. So that's why he never seemingly slept, but he slept anyway, except he didn't need much of it. And I wonder if it's the same with a friend of mine that is never cold. Now we talk about it. He walks in the winter when it's freezing cold, and everybody has fur coats on. He walks in his t-shirt and jeans, summer and winter, and I mean it's cold. He doesn't believe he gets cold, but perhaps this is beside the point. You know, I don't understand these things. Because the reason I sit here in front of this window, overlooking the valley, seeing between true mountains, and true mountains, I mean, a glimpse of the ocean. And in the ocean, believe it or not, an island, in the distance, very gracefully foggy island. Has a special reason. It's not that I sit here for nothing. I could sit anywhere. And the reason I tell this story to you in code is because I want you to understand that I cannot say these things in the open. There's no way I can communicate these things to just everybody who can hear. It's just for the people that understand, for who have the code. And you need the code. I mean, it makes no sense, please. Don't listen to this to go on listening. I mean, you can, and you might be fascinated by it. And it is fascinating because those codes are fascinating. I mean, I know people who can listen for hours and hours to these codes. And they don't understand a word of it. And there seems to be some kind of story, but it doesn't lead anywhere. And still they like it. They're fascinated by it. And they have all kind of ideas. They get all kind of meaning out of it. It's ridiculous. They think it really has deep meaning, and they create these images that really mean something. I know personally people that really improve their life. I mean, at least they think they improve their life. But let me tell you one thing, there's nothing to improve. There is nothing to improve. You are already perfect. I mean, it's the worst thing you can do to improve anything. But anyway, on that moment, I heard footsteps coming nearby. And I asked something. And then it became very clear that I had to do this. She stood there, small, beautiful, blonde, all in black, purple shoes, and she stood with her back to me. Then she ran away, and I took out my little book and jotted it down, the numbers 9, 6, 3, and of course not to forget a 4. Those are very important numbers, so please don't forget them. It's always 6 or 9 in either combination, and many times in combination with 4. So I desperately tried to stay awake, because I felt that this was the last thing I should do is in this space where it was so dangerous to fall asleep. I mean, to fall asleep in a car is something, but to fall asleep here is worse. It's the worst thing you can do. But then I heard a voice.
Toen was er iets gekomen wat de wolf niet leuk vond. Een prachtig beest met een mooi meisje erop.
But always remember that when we go together, and this is very important, when we go together, don't forget that whatever I see in you is me. So to get this very clear, whatever I think to see in you is me. So don't worry. Whatever I say, don't listen to it. It really doesn't mean anything to you. Yet it's a mirror, a perfect mirror. There's a very good reason why you are listening right now. And I cannot make up that reason for you. You know it. And that's why I'm telling you this story. It took me a long time to actually not fall asleep. It was a major fight. Yes, it's a fight. But I got up and started stumbling forward. I wasn't careful anymore. I wasn't silent. I stumbled forward. Drunk. I seemed totally drunk. I was in a state of utter unconscious behavior. I mean, I had so little energy. I was so totally out of it that I didn't know if I had my eyes open or if they were closed. It was dark. It didn't make any difference. But I saw lights, you know. I saw this, you know, when you're half asleep, you start seeing these images, these scenes, you know. I started seeing scenes. I hadn't taken anything. I just had a cup of coffee. So, as far as I didn't remember anything anymore, all I saw was like images. I was in this incredible, huge, what do you say? It's a railway station, enormous railway station, and the railway station had like hundreds of trains, and we were with this beautiful blonde lady. I mean, gorgeous. I mean, everybody looked at her. I mean, she had this fantastic short dress on, these gorgeous legs. She had nylons on, you know, black with big flowers on it. And, I mean, the dress was short. I mean, her ass was hanging out a little bit, you know, just so that it attracted every man in the entire station. And I was very busy there. And then she had this little strapless top, you know, with her beautiful breasts hanging out a little bit. Her décolleté, her, I mean, and her face, her lips, you know, those cheeks and those blonde hairs. I mean, and in this country nobody is blonde, you know. I mean, it attracts everybody's attention. So I was walking next to it, you know, and I didn't want attention at all. So everybody was looking my direction, not, of course, my direction. Nobody saw me, and if they saw me, they were jealous. And normally I would be very proud to be with a beautiful, gorgeous Ming vase from the Sung dynasty, you know, that everybody treats with utter respect and total utmost amazement. And yet I felt horrified because everybody was looking at me, and I would love to hide my face, but I couldn't. I would only attract more attention. But anyway, I was walking in this incredible, huge place, and I had to bring her to the train. It was on rail 8. Write it down. And it departed at 6:06. See? 6:06. Actually, it was a little late. It arrived at 6:09. See? And we had to go in wagon number 4. She had a reserved seat there. It was a couchette, as they call it here, a sleeping car. Beautiful first-class sleeping car. All wood. Beautiful mahogany wood, you know, from the rainforest. Beautiful. And with beautiful golden lamps in it. Very sophisticated. One of those ancient railway cars that they still have as a museum piece, you know. It was actually specially connected to this train, this international train. And she had to be 48 hours in the train, you can imagine. I mean, it's nothing. I mean, I've been 2 weeks in the train, all the way through Siberia. And if you look out of the window, it's outside, it's so cold that actually they have tape. They tape all the windows off so the cold creeps in so incessantly, so morbidly that like you literally freeze inside. So they make it as hot as possible and still you're freezing. And the whole day, those old Russian ladies come in and they bring this hot tea. And you drink hot tea the whole day and then vodka to stay really hot. And it goes on day after day. And sometimes you get out of your little jail to go to the restaurant car where you are in line to have dinner. Cabbage, no greens, onions, carrots if you're lucky, and potatoes. Every day, you know. After 4 days you start screaming for some greens, a little salad, please, a murder for a little salad. But you didn't get it. But anyway, all those images started to shoot in front of my eyes. And I knew that I was sucked in by them, you know, like they were so tempting to really go into this space, you can say, in this adventure, in this incredible, luring images that you could easily forget everything was there to make you forget reality, whatever that is. But I knew I had to stay awake. I had to stay here, you know. I mean, already I have difficulties knowing if I'm awake or if I'm asleep. I mean, if I dream, I know it's real. I mean, in my dream, it's real. I mean, I am on that sidewalk. I mean, I'm walking actually in that enormous railway station with that gorgeous girl. And everybody's watching. And there's the train. I see the number very clearly. It's all real. I open the door, she gets in. And there's the conductor and the helper of the car. And she's treated as a queen. I mean, she's rich. She's extremely beautiful and rich. What do you want? I mean, anyway. But if I wake up, I know it was all a dream. But now, you know, take for example now I'm awake, right? I mean, I look around here. I see this gorgeous landscape through this window, right? I know it's just a window. There's no walls in the back of me. There's no roof above me. I'm in the open. The sun is shining. The big black cloud is moving away. And there comes the sun. There comes the sun. Oh my God, it's shining on my head again. Oh, it's warm, you know. So is this all real? Is this all real? I mean, when do I wake up from this? I think it's real right now. But if I wake up from this, do I then also know it was just a dream? Or do I yet enter another dream? It's also confusing. But anyway, I struggled really, and I felt on a certain moment something. I bumped into a wall, I couldn't see anything. I mean, it was pitch black, and yet I saw this incredible cathedral. Beautiful cathedral. It was like massive. And in it was a black Madonna. Black, and the wind was blowing around me. And I looked at the black Madonna, and her eyes were diamonds. Pure diamonds. There was some light coming out of it. I mean, you know, the kind of prismatic light that has all the colors. I saw them all, from purple to red. And there was a little source, you know. And there was water dripping out of it. And the water was running between my legs, and I was standing there frozen and wide-eyed and looking at the Black Madonna, and the chains around my wrists were opening up and falling down the ground. I was free. I was free. And I took up the change, because I knew I was saved by her, Isis from Egypt. I knew I would wake up in my own bed at home and not here in Egypt. And I know I would build this enormous cathedral for her. And of course I couldn't call her Isis, because Isis was totally out. All her priests were murdered. It was now called Maria. Maria had taken over all the goddesses. So I made her black. I called her Madonna, Maria, but I made her black. And only a few of us knew it was Isis. And I built this beautiful, beautiful chapel in front of the cathedral. And in it, I hang my chains. And to these days, right now at this moment, they are still hanging, centuries later. But I couldn't get into this. I had to struggle, and I bumped my head against the wall, and I felt with my hands if I could find any opening, any door. I wasn't careful at all anymore. I was making enormous noise. I was screaming. I mean, my life was in danger. I knew it. I knew it. On many levels. I was making noise which I shouldn't. I was falling asleep through some poison gas or something which I shouldn't. I had to wake up, which I couldn't. Oh. And yet, all these images kept appearing in front of my eyes. And you are listening to this message in code, transmitted through the radio system that you are part of. And I know you take note. I know that sometimes some details will really set you straight. And I know that afterwards this whole message will evaporate into air. And you will have no idea what it was about, because it isn't about anything. Except if you know the code. And very few of you know the code. And don't ask me how we are able to get this on the air. But we are, as you see. Times are changing. You know, everybody feels it. It is all around. And I don't talk about very weird, fashionable expressions as new types of music or new types of spirituality or new types of fashions or no, none of that. It is very clear all through, wherever you go, that everybody feels it. Big changes. And I mean big changes. Massive changes. No stone will be left on the other. And in fact, we can't afford to leave many stones on the other anymore. Isn't it? So the train started very slowly. She was hanging out of the window, and I was surrounded by an incredible amount of panting young men who didn't know her at all, but they were just attracted. And I was in the middle, and I would be soon alone in the middle of all of them, in front of empty tracks. The train had disappeared in the distance. And they stood there totally silent, fixed. And I didn't dare to move. Should I just act as if nothing had happened and just turn around and find my way through this mass of people? Walk up to the staircase, climb the balcony, face them and start my speech, and tell them that from now on their life would be better. Is it still possible to centrally direct your life? That you have to give up everything of yourself for the greater good of the country, the society, your community? Give up yourself, love everybody else, accept yourself, something like that. We've had many of those people telling us a new system, a central system for happiness, isn't it? But I didn't dare to move. I chickened. I'm still standing there, believe me. I'm still standing there, and all around me, people know something has to happen. And as long as I think about it, as long as I try to do something about it, I don't move. I'm like this guy standing on the side of the water, you know, and I wonder if I should jump in the water, if it will be cold, if I will drown, what will happen if I are in it. Should I swim? Can I swim? Is this the first time? Will I survive this? And so one thought after the other keeps entering my mind, but I don't jump. It seems that every thought stops me from jumping, because I know that when I jump, I will not be able to think anymore. I have to act, otherwise I drown. And that's the last thing my body wants. Or is it the last thing that my body wants? Perhaps my body doesn't give. It doesn't make any difference if it's alive or death. The body is not interested if it's alive or death, of course. But now it becomes very clear. It's only the thinking that wants to survive. But wait a moment. I have my cigar here. It's a Cuban cigar, yes. It's handmade. It's beautiful. It takes about 3 years for that cigar to really ripen and to become the masterpiece it is now. It's extremely expensive. I mean, it's as expensive as a very, very good bottle of wine. You know, one of those bottles of wine that are treated like gold. You know, that once they're opened, you know, it's like a celebration, like a ritual of the kind that you you only experience 3 or 4 times in your life, if you're lucky and if you're rich enough. And you know, only the very, very rich. And there's no way you can become rich. Forget it. If you think that you're going to be rich by working hard, forget it. You only can become rich if you are rich. You know what I mean? If you are rich. If you want to become rich, you never will be. Even if you get all the money in the world. You know the stories of all those people who work their ass off their whole life to become rich, and they have all the money you can imagine. And yet they are not able to become a member of the sailing club. Oh no. They are avoided like the plague. And not all the money in the world can buy their membership. And their life is worthless without the membership, without the blazer with a special coat of arms on the right pocket. But they never get it. And they buy the biggest villa, the most expensive furniture, the biggest car, and it all seems to work against them. They are looked down upon as totally ridiculous. And whatever they do, it seems to become worse. Never the right type of behavior, always the wrong impression. Never rich, with all the money in the world, always poor. Because they are fighting, resisting the real richness with all they have, just like I have been doing my entire life. I couldn't fall asleep there. I had to resist with all my might, otherwise it would be my end. I would die right there if I fell asleep, if I gave in. That would be it. And all the images that came, I couldn't go into them. It would be the end. I had to stay awake. I had to stay here. Right here in reality. Face it. Face the gravest danger. In the pitch black. And here I am. Once more. Talking to you. And I know you are listening. And you have to realize, of course, that together with us, many more people are listening. They are just listening in, you know what I mean? It is in this world practically impossible to do anything alone. We are really all together. We're one. We're in the so-called information age. And we get more and more information. It's sickening. We're surrounded by information. How much more information can we stand? How much more news can we take? So, more and more of it is in code. It's weird, but whenever you turn on the radio, you don't hear what you think you hear. Oh, it might be endlessly fascinating. But it's just a sugar-coated pill. You taste the sugar, but it's all about the pill inside. And only very few know about it. Get the message. Oh, you get your own message, of course. And nobody has any idea what kind of message that is. Perhaps you have the code. It could be. But I'm not talking to you anyway. I'm only talking to you, my darling. And I'm very happy that we were able to set up this system. It's amazing. But it works. It really works. Because it's not the words. You know that. But I don't have to tell you. I love you, my darling. I'll talk to you soon.
Работает.
Program initiated. Houston now controlling. Program initiated. Houston now controlling.
All indications coming in at 40 seconds away from the Apollo 11 liftoff. All the second stage tanks now pressurized. 35 seconds and counting. We are still go with Apollo 11.
Работают все радиостанции Советского Союза.